classification. Okay, so in general, the households experience coping strategies. Okay, experience coping strategies, and most of them are based on stress coping. Ano po yung stress coping na yun? Okay, ito po yung spend savings. Okay, they borrowed money. So those are some example of stress coping strategy. Now let's go to the impact index. Yung impact index is a merge of the shock severity and the livelihood-based coping strategy. And you will have the impact index. And if it's low, if it's not, moderate if it's stressed, severe if LBCS is emergency, and the shock severity severe. So, binary po yung dalawang indicator. So, what is the result? The result show, sandali po. Okay, in general, the impact index low, which is, I think, is good for both Alubijid and Gitagum. But again, there are some pockets. Some households also experience the impact. That's the impact of this of the shock and also the livelihood coping strategies. Now, looking at the household data diversity score. So, dun sa questionnaire namin, there are 12 food items according to groups sa food pyramid, and then we identify which of the female-headed or the male-headed are more likely to have better household diversity score. Looking at this figure, the female-headed household have lower household diversity score compared to the male-headed household. Next, we have also a question about households experience unmet food. This is the past year, and most of their experience. But on what month they are most vulnerable? Actually, I want to ask the question. There are more households who experience unmet needs when in September. I don't know if it's because there's a change in weather during that time that it's difficult for them to meet their requirements. And in terms of food insecurity, the food insecurity situation in both these municipalities is moderate. Okay? The problem is moderate. Particular, the opinion moderate food insecurity is higher compared to Gitagum. Now, so we're finished with profile, wash, poverty, and then we have food insecurity. Now we're going to infant and young child feeding. This is for, at kung malapit po sa puso namin, this is close to my heart because particularly in the nutrition community. So in terms of breastfeeding practices, what are the breastfeeding practices in this SSF? Okay, good. In Gitagum, all children were breastfed. Pero po natin doon lahat and then 93% are being breastfed. But in terms of exclusive breastfeeding, I mean, 100% nag-say that exclusive breastfeeding po, unfortunately, it's not too long. The average exclusive breastfeeding is only 3 to 4 months. Okay?
Pwede pa mo sa
So we
taas.
must focus also on that.
Pwede ka lang 1 year.
And look at this.
2 years.
For a 0 to 23-year-old,
Sa Africa ka mo.
only 79% in Alubijid are being breastfed during the time of the survey, and 43% in Gitagum for being breastfed during the survey. Okay? So medyo bumaba na po. Dapat kasi 100% po yan. It should be 100% if you really focus on intervention of promoting breastfeeding. Now, how about this? The next time after birth, the child was first to put on breast. Okay? So immediately within or less than 60 minutes. So this is the percentage. Okay? Now, I think I'm going to tell you that this is a little bit problematic, particularly the complementary feeding. Okay, look here. So this is the main indicator for complementary feeding. The first one is the minimum meal frequency. So a child, if it's breastfed or not breastfed, there's a requirement that this child should be provided with food 3 times a day, 4 times a day, depending if that child is being breastfed or not. And in terms of meeting the minimum meal frequency, Alubijid is better. But look at meeting the dietary diversity score. What is the meeting the dietary diversity score? So looking at these food items, if these food items are being fed to 6 to 23 months children, and in Gitagum, I think we need to improve our practices because we need to related dietary diversity score, and the minimum acceptable diet is the sum of the minimum meal frequency. It's a mix of meeting the minimum meal frequency at the same time meeting the dietary diversity score. So since meron na po dito, automatic na po siya na hindi naman minimum acceptable diet. And actually, yung sa Alubijid, mataas po siya. Kasi sa Philippines po, 9%. Less than 20% po ang ating minimum acceptable diet. It's really a problem. Hindi lang po dito sa Misamis Oriental, but at the same time sa entire Philippines. Now, look at this. 0 vegetable or fruit consumption. Okay? So, 55% and 43% in the SSF household do not give fruit or vegetable at all to the child yesterday, the day before our interview. Okay? And then, in terms of consumption of beverage, particularly the sweet beverage, for Alubijid 45%, in Gitagum is 30%. But looking at giving unhealthy food, what are these unhealthy food? Is it food? The sweet beverage, the chips, okay? The chips and in general is the savory snacks, particularly the chips, the salty food or the salty chips. So it's a little bit higher in Alubijid. Now, in terms of this is a good practice, consumption of egg, fresh food is a little bit. Actually, Alubijid, it's a mix may good practice at the same time may a good bad practice for improvement. It's really because looking at this, they are really good in giving food item or egg or fresh food to the 6 to 23 months. In terms of bottle feeding, okay, for 6 to 23 months children, 40-50% in Gitagum are bottle fed, and in terms of providing vitamin and minerals, 50% in Gitagum are being provided with vitamins and minerals. In terms of receiving IYCF messages, okay, so we found out that only few receive breastfeeding and complementary feeding practices. This is what perhaps in the last 6 months. So in terms of the changes, this is for the 24 to 59 months. Do they have changes in terms of food frequency? And as you can see here, there's at least half of the households mentioned that there's a change because of the COVID-19. There were less frequent in terms of the intake. And in terms of receiving the messages, there were more households in this age group who received messages or feeding messages for 2 to 5-year-old children. Now, let's go to the nutritional status of children. So, this is the methodology, this is the equipment that we used. And then, after the data collection, we check its plausibility, if it's good. And then, in terms of plausibility check, the plausibility score is 30%, which is judged as good. And this is the magnitude and severity of cutoff. So So kapag po let's say 30% ang prevalence, for example sa stunting, ibig sabihin high na po yun. If the prevalence of underweight is 20%, that means it's already a high public health significance. And when it was a wasting, if it's 5 to 9%, the prevalence is poor. Okay, let's see the next slide. So this is the prevalence of underweight, stunting, and wasting. So for underweight, Alubijid is low, Gitagum is high, and very high for stunting, low for stunting and Alubijid, and both poor in wasting for Alubijid in terms of wasting. This is the current nutritional status po. So in terms of the types, the number of type of undernutrition. So as you can see here, 50% in Gitagum have at least one type of undernutrition, and 30% in or 33% in Alubijid at least one form of undernutrition. In terms of looking at wasting and stunting together, more than 40% in the Gitagum can have, it's either stunted or wasted, and only 2.8% are both stunted and wasted. Okay, in terms of our health status of children vaccination, so this is good. Clap po, kasi lahat vaccinated, since birth to adult. But in terms of illness, at may mga nagkasakit po last month. They got ill last month for 0 to 23, and more than at least 50%, and 1 up to 2 children ay nagkasakit po last month. So who are more likely to be underweight? Those who are ever breastfed. Yung pagkakasya po kayo nung ask, bakit yung sa breastfed, sila yung most likely to become underweight? Ito po yung super dependency ng mga nanay sa breastfeeding. To the point na hindi na po sila nag-i-introduce ng proper complementary foods. There's over-dependency to breast milk. So it's necessary na dapat habang nag-breastfeed ang 6 months, we need to introduce proper complementary feeding. Okay? What else? Unhealthy food consumption, which is logical. Lower child diversity score. Those belong to household who borrowed from bank. That means that's a coping strategy. Those students in the household who stopped schooling, and those living in surrounding with stagnant water. What else? Those who belong to household which borrowed food or relied on help from friends. Main source of water are infants. Those households who borrowed money to have access to food, access to service, access to provide or rehabilitate shelter, and those households which experience crisis and stress as well. What else? Who are more likely to become wasted? Those with incomplete vaccination, those in the household with insufficient drinking water in the household, those households with coping mechanisms to reduce the number of meals needed per day, reduction in the quantity consumed by adults, mothers, or young children. So in conclusion, in terms of wash, the problems are in surrounding waste disposal and access to water, the regularity of access to water. Most of the SSF households were poor than the regional data as presented by the country. Then food insecurity is moderate, impact index of majority is low, IYCF practices are optimal, and underweight and stunting from high and very high public health food certain timing but low prevalence in Alubijid. Now, so one of the another objectives of the study is to provide a food-based recommendation. So this will be our intervention. So we develop a food-based recommendation for 1 to 2 year olds using this methodology. So that we collect the data, we process the data, particularly the intake data of the children, and convert it into food-based recommendation. We found out that the children, okay, have no problem in protein. Look at this. But look at all the other. As you can see, look at the other nutrients. So those are all inadequate intake. So that is, if it's inadequate intake, kailangan lang po natin ayusin. We need to recommend to improve the feeding practices, okay? Because the food that they are getting will really provide all the nutrients they need. All we have to do is to make sure that the food pattern is okay. So what will be the recommendation? So this is one of the food-based recommendations. 1 to 2 children should eat at least this food item based on the analysis. This is for 1 to 2-year-old, and this is for 3 to 5-year-old. Same food items, but yung isang grupo ko more on mas marami, mas madama, mas more frequent. This is on top of what the child is eating, okay? This is on top of what the child is eating. And then, after this, the FPRs, sorry, mabalik po ako. Yeah, so this is the FPR recommendation. So based on this FPR development, so the existing food supply and dietary pattern for 0 to 1 to 2 and 5-year-old children can meet the protein needs, but there's a change in terms of dietary patterns to achieve all the other recommendations for other nutrients. And then for FPR for 2 to 5-year-old, sorry, this is for 1 to 2-year-old and this is for the 3 to 5-year-old. Okay, another thing is we did the recipe trial. So what is the recipe trial? So based on what the mother is giving to the child, we modify the food that is being given to the children. And having these recipes, so these are the recipes which were tested, okay? This was prepared by the mothers, and then we add some more ingredients to make it more nutritious, okay? And then we standardize, and then we ask the mother to feed it to their children, okay? And from there, as you can see here, this is the score of the mothers, okay? For this, this is the lugaw, and this is the other fish delicacies. But as you can see here, the lumpia, the burger, the fish burger, fish lumpia, and lumpia ko ba? Sabi ko lumpia ka ba natawag eh. I think it is well received by the mothers and the children. And then, this is the sensory evaluation of all of the recipes we cook and standardize. And finally, we also provide the cost. How much will it cost if the mother will prepare that kind of food? And this is the recipe book. We will provide the recipe book to business board so that you can use it. And in conclusion, 12 recipes were standardized as an output for the rest of the trial. This is the cost, and all recipes received high sensory evaluation scores. So what is the implication? This is my last slide, one of my last 2 slides. The moderate food security situation and the low to very high prevalence of undernutrition in the SSF households in the municipalities required collective and responsive actions from different sectors, not only locally, regionally, nationally, and internationally. Needed utilization of this research output in practical food and nutrition intervention in LSF is recommended. And of course, as much as possible, we need to promote the FPR and recipe book. Mag-start po siguro dito sa inyong lugar, Misamis Oriental, and then later, other provinces could also use it. So I would like to acknowledge the project team of Los Baños, and I'm ready now to answer your questions if you have any. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ma'am Lane, for the very fast and furious serious presentation.